What's going on, guys? Welcome to For the Fans. I'm Kevin, and I'm here once again with Sheldon CJ
Yes.
and the returning Kiley. Kiley, good to see you.
I've just been out vacationing
How
and
was it?
relaxing. Just needed it.
Did
Well,
you miss
you
us?
luckily didn't miss anything in the house. They were still
What?
going after Taylor. They're still
I
going
was
after Taylor.
still watching Big Brother. I just wasn't talking about Big Brother. But I haven't gotten to talk about it since it's gotten good. Like the last time I was on here, we were like, we hate this season. We hate everybody in this house. And now it's like, wow, is this going to be like one of the best seasons we've gotten in several years? Because it might be.
It depends. It depends what happens over the next few weeks, but it just might be.
Yes, listen, we're happy. We're happy to be here. We're here to talk about everything that happened in this eviction episode with sadly, Nicole going home tonight. I don't think any of us are too sad. CJ, we have Sheldon here from last night. We have CJ returning from normally on Mondays, but we have CJ here for a Thursday episode.
What up?
CJ, what are your initial thoughts about Nicole going home?
It's about time. This girl played herself. She was out here trying to next level the game. And as we saw throughout the episode, her and Daniel thought they were playing chess. Everybody else was playing checkers. But realistically, everybody else is playing checkers, and they're over there playing shoots and ladders.
Listen, you played yourself. And that's one of my favorite lines. And that's exactly what happened.
CJ, that's a really good point. Is anybody actually playing chess in this game? Or do we just have a whole lot of just average game players here?
Michael's playing chess and he's waiting for someone to join the table.
That
is what's going. I mean, he had it. He talks in the episode. We're going to get into it, but he says it in the episode. They had it all set up for them not to use the veto and for the thing that he needed to happen. Convince his alliance, just couldn't convince the idiot that's in his friend home.
Yeah, but that wasn't his idea. That was Brittany's idea.
No, it was Michael's idea. The show
gave it. I saw it on the show last night. They never do evil edits where they make other people have power for different things and give them the edit. That doesn't happen.
This is true. This is true. So, Michael, in fact, tricked the editors.
Sheldon, my man, you got to watch the feeds. That's where it's at. It's a different show.
I can even get the feeds in Canada.
I don't know that you can.
You got to do some work. You got to do some work if you really want them. But
hey, me and Kevin are West Coast. We had to do some work to watch the episode so we can bring this to you people.
Okay. This is true.
Okay.
But before we get deep into the episode, as you guys know, when we get to 250 subscribers,
yes,
we are going to be giving away a signed golden Power of Veto.
Do we have Kylie? Do we have it yet?
I gotta have it back. One of the people that is signing them sent me a message today asking how I wanted it to be signed. He's been in possession of it for just a few weeks.
Ooh, it's a he.
So
wait, was it Michael? Because Michael's been in possession of the veto a few weeks this season.
Oh, plot twist. Yes.
Not Michael. No. He's actively playing. But we will be getting that veto, and then also, if we get to 500 subscribers, you get a HOH robe, the robe that Monty could not take off at all this week. You would get that along with a second golden Power of Veto.
By the way, this is 2 weeks in a row because Turner also did not take that thing off.
Listen, baby, if I was HOH, I'm wearing that robe all day.
If I was HOH, I'm not putting that on once in front of somebody else. I don't want people to think I think too much of myself.
I'm flexing it, baby. I'm flexing it. I want it on. I'm walking around the house. B-Bean, I know you're in the chat. B-Bean, are you wearing that robe? Let us know. Because I'm wearing that robe all the time. CJ, you wearing that robe? CJ, you wearing that robe?
I think it's cold in the house.
The only thing I think I would actually use in that HOH room is the bathtub. And I would love every second of it. That's all.
No, look, I love to take baths, but I am not taking a bath in the Big Brother house.
With my swim shorts. And my rubber ducky. I'd bring it from the pool.
With that, let's jump into this episode, guys.
Yeah.
This was an action-packed episode. We see everything from from Monty putting up Nicole and Taylor, including him telling them not to use the veto. We see all that shenanigans, all the way up into the live eviction. Starting at the very top of the show, we get the veto meeting where Daniel is convinced that there's a large alliance and that they somehow don't have the votes.
I mean, he's right. Like, he pretty much clocked the alliance, except for Kyle.
Yeah,
like,
and 2 weeks too late.
2 weeks, and you were missing the main piece was the Kyle, because he's talking to Kyle about, I got the alliance figured out, Kyle. We're good to go. And Kyle's like, yeah, you're a genius. You got everyone.
Well,
undercover.
One of the things that kills me about this is, okay, so let's say he figured out this alliance, okay? He's still not humbled about the fact that he just figured out about the alliance. It's almost as if he's known about this for weeks in his head, and he's this genius. Like, what the heck, man? Come on.
Sheldon, you forgot. He thinks he's playing chess.
But my thing is like, okay, you've put it together. You have those 6, they were hanging out together in the HOH room. You have clocked them together. There's not any part in your mind that makes you think, now Kyle voted with them too to get out of Mira. Could Kyle also be a part of that?
Kylie,
how do you make all of those connections and not just...
You're right, Kylie. Let me take it one step further. And still he didn't think Nicole was going.
You guys are missing it. You guys are missing it. Kyle is his festie bestie. They know there's no way this festie bestie would do a move against him and his showmance Alyssa. So obviously Kyle's not with those guys. He's with me and us and the festie besties.
It's funny because Daniel's over here. He's like, I'm not telling Kyle everything, but I expect Kyle to tell me everything. That's not how it works, son. Like, information is a two-way street in the Big Brother house. So you got to share everything. And Kyle's over here just sitting on secrets from Daniel.
Really, Daniel? Dang. Wow. Hold on. The craziest part about that is that Daniel has no secrets to tell. Like
he does. He thinks he does. Listen, me and Nicole, we're actually working together.
Oh my gosh, what a secret.
No one knows. And guess what? Nicole's also a cop.
No.
If anyone knows, these are some great
By the way,
great A secrets.
Is Nicole 41?
She's a 41-year-old woman out here playing the game.
By the way, this woman was a detective, and then she was fired. I'm sorry, this is not a detective.
Hey, there's a reason why she is a former detective.
I think she was a cop, and then they gave her a detective promotion. Then she became a traffic cop, and while she was doing that tickets, she saw a lot of restaurants. She's like, yeah, I could do that.
To quote one of Kevin and I's favorite reality shows, Nicole had to get to the bottom of this.
Bottom of it. You know what I'm saying? That's what Ray J used to say. And For the Love of Ray J used to say, I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
We're never getting Nicole or Daniel on this podcast.
Nicole plans on being on All Stars, though. So, we'll see her there.
She also plans on being on The Amazing Race with Amira.
I want her on The Amazing Race All Stars. That's what you should think about.
Well, at the beginning of the episode, we get Monty telling Daniel and Nicole straight up, the votes aren't there, so keep the noms the same. The votes are not there. Nicole might go home. And they like, I see what you're doing here, little blue skidoo. Like, you want us to do the thing, this little reverse psychology thing is not going to work here, Monty. And he's like, well, I tried. If the HOH is telling you guys to not use the veto because it could put your best friend in danger, would you guys take the risk of putting your best friend on the block at all?
Absolutely not. Not at this point in the game.
And it's not just the best friend, it's the only real ally that he could fully trust.
Correct.
And you're coming off being blindsided. Like, I am just going to tuck tail for the week, and you don't want my number one up on the block. That is fine. You can send home whoever the hell you want to send home, because I'm going to keep my closest person.
Yep.
Right.
And I'm going to take a week to regroup.
Now, during the week, they were talking about that they needed the numbers, right? They needed Alyssa or Indy as a number, which is why they couldn't do it. As Kylie said, though, you can't do anything if you're not inside the house anyway. So you might as well take the time, regroup, and figure out what you're going to do. And Bean says, Nicole said to Julie, big risk, big reward. Big risk means you go home. That's so dumb. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Yeah, but the reward is what? Get rid of somebody that they
Taylor
think is
She's
shit
the worst
and has no value in the game, has no value. Like that, like the reward is what? There is no real.
We're going to get rid of the house target, Sheldon. The person that's been terrible to everyone, has been the biggest bully.
She's got to go. I'll never forget what Taylor said.
Turner said that we need to get the bullies. So why are we not going for the biggest bully? You can't bully the bully.
Nope.
These are all words that Daniel and Nicole has said this week, by the way. It's insane. But that was a big risk, I guess, to take out the house target, the person everyone wanted to take out.
And I understand the concept of big risk, big reward, but you're not even at jury yet. Like, now is not the time to be taking risks.
It's interesting, man, because like everyone here, CJ, except for CJ, we all have played like online reality type games, right? And in this phase of the game, whenever I'm playing a game, my goal is just to make it to the jury. I'm just trying to stay alive.
You make friends, you relax. You're not flashy, you're not showy, you just shut your mouth.
Yes. And that's the portion of the game you're in, Daniel. So for you guys to think that this is the time to make a move and try to put yourself on the block and put yourself after you admittedly took one for the team, Nicole said, and paired up with Taylor because she's the easiest one to get out of here. After these decisions were made, and then, as Kylie said, you saw Amira get blindsided. You shut the hell up and you sit the hell down, and you say nothing. Whatever, Monty. What do you want to do this week? You want me to use it? Sound good, baby. I'm not gonna use it. Who you want me to vote? Alyssa? I don't really want to do that, but it sounds good, baby. You know we're gonna do that. Like it's an easy thing to do this early in the game. This is not time to try to make moves. Yeah, but anyway,
I mean, like the fact that they're over here thinking they're big braining the game and they've left all of us speechless shows how dumb they are.
Well, it was a really enjoyable episode to watch. Like, I didn't even take notes. I was like just sitting there. It's not often that you know, because we know what is going to happen. You know, we've been knowing for days what was going to happen tonight. Yeah. And so it's hard sometimes to really enjoy the edited episode because of the twist that they put on it. But they full on threw Nicole and Daniel completely under the bus, made them look like Boo Boo the Fool, and just piled it on. I mean,
watching them they played the clip. Like, they played the clip of Nicole and idiots. Fools, clowns. We got them. How they think they got the votes. We got them.
You are so dumb.
I love the clown music with it.
Yeah, clowns. They think they got us. We got the numbers.
Can I just say
myself, Indy, Alyssa,
insert clown
Terrence, Terrence, Jasmine, and Kyle. We got the numbers.
I'm going to give them a little something, just a little love, a little love. Because one of the things that is so clear, and we've all seen this, close your eyes, Kylie, everything's okay. I'm not going to give them that much love. But in the diary room, they make them act extremely, extremely certain of what they say. Because the truth is, if some of the things Michael said tonight in the diary room, if those things came out of Nicole's mouth, we would have been rolling our eyes and annoyed. But because they came out of Michael's mouth tonight, we were like, yeah, go Michael, go win this game.
But Michael has his thumb on the pulse of the game and Nicole doesn't. And so, once again, referring back to what Kevin said, we've all played these online reality games and, we've done confessionals and I've been like, I am not about to say with 100% certainty that I know what's going on because I am not trying to look like a dumbass. And these people are on national television going full on. And I mean, yes, the DR makes you say some stuff, but they do not make you say,
Well, no, and that's my point.
That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the DR stuff. I'm talking about them hyping each other, like gassing. They're like basically like in a locker room, pushing each other, getting hyped to go out there and like take the field. Like getting in that mindset of idiots, man, so dumb. Clowns. Let's go.
I do want to say one thing because right after the nominations, Taylor was extremely emotional because Kyle and nobody else told her what was happening because there wasn't enough time. Okay, but one of the things that was interesting is that even after the way Nicole treated Taylor still went to cry on Nicole's shoulder, and that was I don't know if that was. I don't think it was a strategic move.
Not at all.
I actually think it was like a grace of Taylor's ability to forgive Nicole. Mm-hmm. And even the way she treated Nicole throughout the evening sitting beside her, there was such grace. There was such somehow love after this person just last week was throwing her under the bus and was treating her like crap. Well, and for the rest of the I don't know. I don't think I would be as I don't think I would do with Nicole. I might become evil Shelley on that show if I was treated the way the way Taylor was treated. That is, I don't know.
Because Taylor genuinely wanted to be friends with Nicole, work with Nicole. She wanted to do that with all of the girls, and just from the jump, mainly from Paloma, she was ostracized and then they all just piled on her, some worse than others. I'm sure we'll get into breaking down all of them at some point in time. But, Nicole just, she dug in her heels on the Taylor hate, and Taylor was just willing to turn the cheek and keep on, and just what a genuine person.
Well, add into the fact that Taylor won Miss Congeniality. I keep bringing that up, but you don't get that by being a vengeful person. Taylor is genuinely the nicest person in the house and has tried to make inroads with everybody several times. And she's lucky the leftovers brought her in, because even back to last week's episode when they introduced the leftovers on TV, she said she can count on one hand the amount of times people would talk game with her. So this isn't even this is just I just want people to be nice to me because I'm nice to everybody.
Yeah.
So I think she would, she'll turn to anybody for comfort the same way that she would turn to comfort anyone in that house.
Mm-hmm. And so we get that behavior from Daniel and Nicole. They feel like they have the numbers. They're pumping each other up. Daniel goes and talks to Kyle and he's like, bruh, we have the numbers. These idiots think that they got us. We got the numbers on our side, Kyle. And, that's why we had to use the veto. That's why we had, Monty tried to get us to not use it. We had to use it. We got the numbers, runs through the numbers. And I don't know if Kiley or Sheldon are big sports fans, but a couple years ago, Magic Johnson was the president of the Los Angeles Lakers. And he had a random press conference at the end of the year where he announced that he was stepping down as president. But he apparently had just talked to Jeannie Buss maybe 10 minutes before and informed her that he was stepping down. And he makes this face in the press conference because he's sitting in the meeting and Jeannie's telling him about plans for next year. And he's like, I ain't going to be here. That's not going to be something I'm going to be a part of. And that's kind of what was happening here, because he's telling Kyle, we got the numbers. We're going to be fine. And Kyle's like, that's not quite how this is going to go. But Daniel, thank you for telling me all of this information and having it wash over me about what we're going to be doing.
Then Kyle's able to take it outside to all of the boys in the swimming pool and is like, hey, so
Yeah.
they're
So I got a
convinced.
bit of information here.
Got some news. This is what they're gonna do. And then Monty's like, bro, I tried to tell him. And it just continues. I love the fact that they were continuing to show exactly who they were in terms of Nicole and Daniel, and the overconfidence and the arrogance that they had for the first few days of once the veto was played.
Yeah. So we also get the reveal of Nicole telling the girls, I need y'all to trust me.
Got a big secret for y'all.
We have the votes this week. I got
By
a secret
the
for
way,
you.
and the detective, do you know how she made sure they were all alone in the room? She opened the door and looked.
Click the door.
This is a detective.
So ladies,
Before I was a chef.
I was a cop for 10 years.
No.
I was a cop for 10 years. Not just a cop. I was a detective for 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did love when Indy said, well, can you help me please figure out what's going on in this house?
I want Indy to not be problematic because she is so funny.
She is though.
She is problematic.
She is though. And
she's just very little and angry.
Yeah, but she's angry like for no reason though. But she tells me this, and Jasmine's like, "Oh man, she's a badass." But I'm sure for some of them, they're like, "She a cop though." So like, keep that in mind.
It's funny because the girls like rallied around the fact that she's a cop. But when she told Terrence she was a cop last week, Terrence was like, "Oh, okay, all right, we're done here."
But can I does it actually matter 4 weeks into the game? You know each other. Like does it make any difference anymore?
Yes.
Really? I don't know because they know her.
There are certain professions that if I found out you're that profession, it's going to definitely change what I think about you.
Yes.
Right. If I find out you're a cop, I don't. But if I found out someone was a cop, I would think that okay, they all they do is analyze things normally. Same thing with like a lawyer. All you're doing is analyzing things, and you're breaking things down, and you're probably going to lie. That's how I would see it if I heard these two things, like lawyer.
And what if I'm a sex therapist?
I don't mind. Wouldn't change things.
I would because I think therapists, similar to a lawyer or a cop, analyzes everything. Which is why I think it was actually smart for Brittany to not tell her job, even though she's a hypnotherapist.
Any job requires analysis. No? Like, am I nuts?
Nah. If someone told me that they're a sanitation worker,
Kyle's job doesn't require him to be an analyst.
Kyle's like, I'm a content creator. That's cool, Kyle.
And watch that content creator win this show.
It doesn't mean you can't win or not. It doesn't change if you go win, but it changes my perception, right? My perception of you as a person.
So hold on. If I tell you I'm a professor, you're done with me?
I wouldn't be done with you.
No, I think I think it depends. Like if we're 3 or 4 weeks into the game, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Guess what? I was trying to bamboozle you."
Well, that's the scary part. I think it's worse to tell now.
Right, exactly. Like I think if you come in and you're like, "Hey, I'm a cop. I'm a lawyer. I'm a therapist. I'm a professor." I'm gonna be like, "Okay, whatever. I don't give a damn."
I would not. I would be like, "Okay, so you're probably a decent liar." If you're telling me you're a professor, I wouldn't. It's the liar. It's the liar one. It's the liar tag, right? That's the one.
Yes, Jackie.
So Jackie says, content creator to analyze things. You got to doing that right now. Yes, we are. Jack, get this off the screen. By the way, Jackie is CJ's wife. So that's why I threw that up there. But that is true. Content creating, it's not a knock. It's just the fact that, like you said, lawyer, cop. Well, there's like another. If you tell me you're a doctor, I wouldn't have those ideas, but I know people would think that they have money. Like they would just assume that they don't need this money, so they can go.
If you're a doctor and you kept the secret until now, I feel like you definitely would keep the secret moving forward, so you didn't have to keep taking care of Jasmine every 5 minutes.
Yes, that would have been beneficial. B Bean says, remember Xavier kept his secret, but some players guessed that he was a lawyer.
Well, not some
This is
players.
true.
My favorite player of all time, Tiffany.
You know why though? Because X's lie was bad when he said he's a bartender, but he doesn't know how to make drinks.
That was a problem.
You know,
Like
I
if he
think
would have
I
said
would
he was
be-
like a youth counselor or a basketball coach, nobody would have questioned
model.
it. He said he was a bartender.
A model. But he just sort of walked up and down the house all day. I think the best lie is a marine biologist. Big Brother Canada.
Listen, marine biologist is a problem if you don't know enough about the marine life, because you can have someone like Kevin asking Josh every day about different marine questions.
So can you tell me, like, could a whale actually swallow a man?
He's like, yeah. I mean, definitely based on the size, because he's just making it up.
Definitely scientifically possible.
And just like Jonah will survive.
So with this, we now got to our showman's portion of the episode tonight.
Finally.
We finally got here. We got to Alyssa. Alyssa now having been used by the veto being used by her man's man there, Kyle.
Turned her on.
Turned her on.
Use.
Yes.
Veto use.
Kind of hot. It's kind of hot.
This man, he's taking care of me.
If only wait till when she gets evicted, whether it's next week or at the end of the show when she's out of jury, and she finds out like Kyle was not going to use that veto on her, and it's Daniel that saved her ass. And
well, she'll figure that out eventually.
Is
that a bigger betrayal than the people on The Bachelor who find out they're their second choice?
Wait.
I think. So is the not being used a veto bigger than finding out that you are not the first choice for the rose?
But I don't think so, CJ, because he really does like her. Like it's not like that. Like it's real.
His game. It's all game. He's trying to think. He's trying to keep game in mind, but like the kid is just so. Like I said yesterday, he is 29 going on 15.
Kitten.
He just doesn't know what to do with himself.
They are really cute together. That is a great, amazing race duo.
It is.
Yeah,
Kyle is very fun. Like at first, he was super obnoxious to me.
No,
He
I
has
loved
grown
him
on
always.
me. Okay, I said to me.
No, I don't know you. You're still on vacation, girl.
He has grown on me more than probably anybody on the cast, except for maybe Parker.
And he's
Who
grown
the hell
on
saw that
Alyssa.
coming? But yeah, no, I agree. Like Kyle is fun, and he, like some people just have all the luck, and Kyle has all the luck. Like not only does he get to keep his showmance in, but he doesn't have to piss off his alliance. And so
that's true. It worked out.
Let me take it one more step. He gets information this week because he's with Alyssa, and on that, like he was the perfect mole. Here I am thinking, oh god, this showmance is going to be a disaster for him. This, it was a perfect thing this week. It was amazing. But
listen, the showmance.
Well, Alyssa was already slipping stuff to him before he kissed her.
yeah.
Because as much as they accused Brittany of being loose-lipped, it was Alyssa that outed the girls.
And the old school alliance.
Yeah.
Well,
this is true.
Because she also he's cute. She's cute. They're in love. It's beautiful.
They are in love. They said
she did say that. She did say that right here. BB mentioned that. She said that she was in love with Kyle.
But she was also in love with her ex who broke up with her on Twitter.
That's true. But
that's different.
Kyle,
that was a situationship.
Yes, this is true. This is true. Now, this is love.
What does that mean?
They've been together for 30 days in the house. And Kyle's over here taking these cold showers, man. Taking a long time in a cold shower. Trying to, take care of business. Now, okay, this was unfair, right? If he is sitting there trying to calm himself down from flirting and seeing Alyssa, why is she standing in the shower, standing at him? While sitting in the bathroom, staring at him while he tries to take
Alyssa said she does not care about $750,000. I mean, Kyle tried. Like his mama, I know she done left Twitter over this whole situation, but he tried. Like she raised a good man, and he tried to keep this head in the game.
Yeah,
but he lost out.
And Alyssa with her womanly wiles was going out there and just being
That's so
temptress.
He was not a temptress. He
100%.
He wants it just as much as her, and she's just telling him what he needs to know.
Like, of course she wants it just as much. But he's laying there in the bed. You saw him tonight. She's like, I just want to kiss you on the lips. And then she's like, now I'm the one playing hard to get. And he's like, oh, okay. And there's so much flirtation. It's just so much for the man. He just can't help himself. He's trying to stay focused on the game.
Why? I don't get this. It's so much for the man. You make it like a man can't control himself. This is the stupidest.
Because he can't. He's an idiot. He can't control himself.
You can control yourself. Control your body.
He tried to control himself for about 30 days.
Okay, stand up and walk out of the room if you don't want her around you. Vote her ass out. I'm sorry.
Well, he went and got in the shower and she tried to follow.
These are all the things he's tried to do, Sheldon.
He is great for his game. I just wish that he could have a little more like Tyler and just, held out on the relationship part until either further into the game or after the game. Like, look at Tyler and Angela. They made it, Final Four, and they're going to get married. Like, they almost had it all.
Yeah, but this is girl number 2 for him. For Tyler, this might have been girl number 222. Like it was a lot of different experiences. Like, it's a different person.
Sheldon,
and I love him for it.
Sheldon's right, and she's so hot. Because he talks about that all the time.
She is. She's gorgeous. she's absolutely. And he's gorgeous. Like, they're a beautiful couple. I love it.
It's a bit of an odd match to me.
No.
But
what do you mean?
It is. I don't see their personalities like meshing. I just don't. So
she was touching his hand. Her leg was on top of him.
Kylie, have you heard about how hot she is? No one cares about personalities. She's super nice. She's so sweet, and she's so nice, and she's so hot.
So attractive.
So this is all Kyle has been thinking about. Look at her. Look at her. She looks
like a mermaid.
Hot.
She is a mermaid.
She's a siren, and she's gonna be his downfall. But
well, I mean, when you show those pictures, he's definitely out kicking his coverage.
And he knows it. And he's doing what he can. But we got our showman segment because they had to make sure that was in there.
Can I just say, there is one more person. There are 2 more people that I want in the showmans. Person 1, Monty. Person 2, Terry.
No.
I want them together. They're also a beautiful couple.
I'm gonna have to.
No, you got the first part. I mean, you got the second part right. Taylor. But this is who we want Taylor with.
Joseph or Marvin?
Joseph.
Or Marvin. I'll take Marvin.
I love the fact that I need to remove those pictures so we can stop throwing them on the screen. Next week we get a great segment which I loved, and it was the fact that Joseph and Monty are like, okay, we're going to evict Nicole, but we need to figure out how we're going to mask these votes. Last week we just went for it, had a blindside. So let's figure out how to configure this thing.
Yeah.
To make it work.
If we go for the blindside again, while very, very fun, very, very telling.
And I thought that was a fantastic thought process that they had to go through. So they immediately go with, hey, we're going to have to get more people on board so that way we could keep us hidden, even though we are a little out in the open and exposed. So they come up with the plan that they're going to talk to Nicole. Monty's going to talk to Nicole, get some ammo from a conversation he's going to have with her, and then go to Jasmine and Terrence and the rest of the house and utilize that to get the stuff done.
And I love how they did that, because the way that Monty explained it to Jasmine is like, look, she's not going after this group. She's not going after that group. That means it's you or me. So we got to get rid of her. And Jasmine's like, okay, you're right. I mean, Jasmine was shocked because Jasmine's shocked
I
by
was
everything.
confused as a blind squirrel looking for a nut.
So my favorite part about all of this is, and I have a feeling, and I'm again, as y'all know, I don't watch the feeds. I have a feeling this is happening, and they're just not showing enough of this on the show. That this was clearly Joseph's idea. And what Joseph did is basically he put his idea out there, and other people went to do his idea. Other people put it into action.
I think that sounds more nefarious than it is. I think that
I don't think no. I don't think in a nefarious way, but his hands completely clean.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like his hands are going to be clean thing. The way that the leftovers have been working is that we're all putting our hands in the dough. We're all kneading the dough and making this work. It's not like someone.
No. He's the flour. He's the flour in the water. He's not kneading dough. What has he done to get him?
So what they didn't show in the episode is that Joseph was talking to Terrence and solidifying the fact that they were doing this with Terrence. Like this, it was the way that it was structured was that Monty was going to be the one to go and make the decision because he's the one that had the conversation with Nicole, and then everyone else pushed the narrative that Monty said, including Joseph, including everyone else.
And add into the fact that you don't see this in the episode, but you see it on the feeds. Terrence was never in on keeping Nicole anyway. He was always going to be ambivalent about it. Alyssa has basically gotten to the point that she's going to do whatever Kyle says because she wants to make sure she stays on the right side of the votes. And then you have Indy, who's just kind of living her own life in there.
Indy was dead set on not voting out Nicole. Like she went that way, kicking and screaming. So...
Yeah, and Daniel was never going to cast a vote to get Nicole out. So you knew it was going to be 9-1 or at worst 8-2.
So you see in the episode that Monty goes and has a conversation with Nicole, then he has a conversation with Jasmine. After that, during that conversation with Jasmine, what you don't see is he tells Jasmine, you go talk to Alyssa. I'm going to talk to Indy. Jasmine says, should I talk to Alyssa tomorrow? He says, talk to her whenever, but I don't want Daniel and Nicole to know. So as you see in the episode, back to the episode, immediately Jasmine gets up and goes and talks to Nicole and Indy and Alyssa, who are in the bedroom together. So she goes and talks to them in the bedroom. And while she's explaining this information, you hear in the episode Indy's resistance about voting out Nicole and wanting to keep Taylor. She's against it wholeheartedly. And
says
Alyssa,
a lot of really mean words about Taylor.
She does
if
say
she
that.
would just keep the personal shit out of it, like her comments of like, what are we doing? Like, we're just going to let this girl stay here. Keep it into the game. And, Indy is enjoyable, but
Taylor lives rent-free in that house. Rent-free in everybody's mind.
Indy to some extent is not incorrect. Like
she's not wrong. That's what I'm saying. Like if she would just keep it to the game stuff, like yes, girl.
You're right. Like Taylor might win this game, folks. Like get rid of her, maybe.
But that's the thing, though, is that Indy is so adamant because of a personal vendetta that she has. But the thing that they also don't show, though, because they had to keep the mystery, is that Alyssa is saying to Jasmine, while they're all talking, she's like, we have to go with the house, though. If that's what the house is doing, we need to be okay with it. This is Alyssa saying this to Indy. Indy is kicking and screaming, as Kylie said. But to go back to what we were saying about everyone doing their part, Brittany comes into the room, asks them, hey, I heard it's flipping. I talked to Terrence and Michael. They're already on board with voting out Nicole. What are you guys looking to do? Brittany her job was to go and massage the girls around and make sure that was still going. Someone was sent to go talk to Terrence. Like it wasn't as if the episode characterized it as if, like you said, Joseph had the plan and then everyone had to go and act it. Everyone has their part in the leftovers, which is why the leftovers for me is one of the cooler alliances I've seen, because there's no person running the alliance. There's no like one person. Is everyone coming together, exchanging ideas, and then basically having what makes the most sense decision.
Right. And I mean, without getting into, weeks down the road, there's so much good, fun gameplay happening because they're all planning. They all don't want to be Tiffany. Like they're like, hey, great, we've got this, alliance a la the cookout, but I don't want to be Tiffany in the cookout. I want to be Xavier in the cookout. And so, they're all working on these plans of how they're going to be X and not Tiff. So
and then you have Michael, who's like, one of the bigger problems for Tiffany was that they let X and Kylie get to the end. We need to look at a Monty Joseph earlier than later because we can't have them getting to the end. The Big Brother 23 has had a big influence on this season for many different reasons. And so that is definitely something that they're looking at and they're being concerned about. So watching the watching the leftovers work together and figure out what makes the most sense for them, I think is great. And yes, you're right, Sheldon. They did characterize it as if Joseph set this up and then let them all go, but they were all a part of it.
Let's move on to the fun part.
Yeah. Love.
Which is the fun part?
Taylor's speech. But first we get Nicole's speech.
We get Nicole's speech. Nicole stands up and she says that she's been humbled this week and she remains committed to play with humility and grace, and that she'll fight for her allies, and she'll fight for them, and she'll continue to fight, and
play in this game truthful and with
honest, and dignity, and like she's been doing the whole time.
I cannot wait for the receipts. I cannot wait for these people doing exit interviews tomorrow to clock her and I
feel bad.
I don't feel bad.
Why, Sheldon?
You've got to answer to the things you say.
Hold on. Kylie, Sheldon, why do you feel bad for her getting what she deserves?
Because she's a human too. And in her mind, she was playing a mastermind game and doing all the right things, minus the bullying stuff. And look, I feel bad. She's a human too. Humans, like I don't know. I don't think I think she should have been voted out. I think she deserves. I think a lot of her character was really questionable. But it's just a show at the end. They're all just trying to figure shit out, and it's hard. Yeah, I feel bad.
The bullying stuff is the stuff I'm here that I'm expecting her to be taken to task for. It's not even the hubris. It's not even her delusions of the honor that she played with. It's the her talking about Taylor living and just being out there in a bikini, and she's gonna I mean. There's one point this week where she says to Taylor, "You somehow stayed in Monty's good graces or something like that." Taylor says, "I didn't sleep with him. If that's what you think, this is what happened."
I'm a 40-year-old woman. I would not imply that.
Yes.
You see, like I don't think you fight, and I don't think we're doing this here. But I'm very worried that she's about to get bullied out there in the real world.
I don't think she's going to get bullied. I think people are going to hold her accountable for the things that she said. And unfortunately, when you sign up for a show that has 24/7 basically live feeds and you say things, I mean, Michael is going to come out of the house. Is Michael going to face the same type of, scrutiny that Nicole is? No, because Michael hasn't said those things. And so you're going to be held responsible for the things that you say. And I don't have any problem. Yes, you have to keep people's mental health in mind. And yes, it is ultimately a game, but in the big scheme of things, you have to be held accountable for what you say and do.
Yeah, we're going to disagree about this. I think she has to be accountable, but her accountability was getting voted out of the house.
So here's the thing, though. You say that, but she was a part of the bullying. And if you want to talk about her game as far as this is concerned, her bullying combined with Daniel's is what actually led to the creation of the leftovers in the first place. So not only is she responsible for abhorrent behavior, she actually costed herself a good spot in the game. She was on the right side of the numbers. She had multiple alliances working together, and being a nasty person is what led the people on the bottom to rise up.
So Bean says, Sheldon, where's your empathy for Taylor? And I don't think I'm not empathetic to Taylor. That's, I've been pro Taylor for a long ass time.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't believe in an eye for an eye. I sometimes feel like she is about to get out of the house. And if the only thing that happens to her afterwards is her mother and her friends say, you really didn't behave well, and then she watches the episodes and she watches herself and she realizes what she did, that I think for most human beings is more than enough pain of self-reflection that she has to go through without what's about to happen, which is the Twitter mob destroying her.
I mean, yes, I can understand what you're saying to an extent. I think ultimately it's how a person handles it, because you have 3 people now out of the house that are kind of having to do the same thing. You've got Paloma, you've got Amira, you've got Nicole, and you've got Paloma who, made a TikTok that was like, y'all did not see like the, passive aggressive behavior that Taylor did towards me when I dropped some pineapple on the ground. And people are like, girl, what are you even talking about? I mean, you were terrible to this girl, and show her examples. And then you have Amira that's like, hey, I'm going to take the time and I'm going to see what I did. And she's at least keeping her mouth shut. And whether she agrees with the criticism she's getting or not, she does seem to be trying to learn from it.
So I don't want to.
We'll see what happens with Nicole.
I don't want to spend an hour on this, but like, is accountability that people need to be bitchy to her now forever? That people
no, not forever. I think it depends on how she handles herself.
Is she ever any redemption? Is there ever any redemption for this woman?
Yes. I think it depends on how she handles it.
Yeah,
do you take Paloma's route or do you take Amira's route?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, is everyone in the leftovers at some point has apologized to Taylor. Realistically, if Nicole apologizes to Taylor for how she treated her, the Twitter mob's going away. She just has to own her actions.
The Twitter mob will not go away. The Twitter mob's here forever. I mean, even Andy Heron said that he still gets told by people randomly how they didn't like how he played this game, and that was BB15. So the Twitter mob is here forever.
And he won.
But it'll be lessened because people like us, like people like the 4 of us right here, people in the chat right now, right? B Bean, Jackie, the people in the chat will not be coming for her if you take accountability. You say, listen, after hearing about some of the things that I said, because I'm sure you don't remember all the things you said. I'm sure
but you know that's not true. It's not true in the sense that, maybe 95% of the people will leave her alone if she does the right thing and does look and reflect and see how she went wrong. But there's some crazy people out there that are never going to let her down.
That's what I said. Most 95, I'm talking about 95% of the people, right? Like
we don't have this, and not fair.
Well, it's part of it. I mean, you sign up for a television show.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not fair.
That's why I'm never going to sign up for a television.
Agreed. I mean, there's people that feel the same way about things that happen on Survivor, and we don't have 24 hours of feeds to pull from. And there's still
if Nicole comes out the house and is like, you know what, that's exactly, Taylor was terrible and I stand by that. It's like we're watching what we're talking about. It's going to be similar to what's been happening in Paloma. Like that's it's going to be based on what happens after tomorrow. Tomorrow people are going to be expecting these questions that people like Sharon and Mike Bloom and Rob, they're going to expect her to take at least a little accountability, especially when she hears about it from so many different sources. Relaying her behavior, that's going to be it's going to be big.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about Taylor's speech? Because
yes, we can.
Because I think so. Let me talk about it. Because Taylor's speech to me was it was this balance of class act and you deserve this, Nicole.
Class and sass.
And I don't know how she was able to strike that balance. It was somehow magical. Miss Congeniality, Miss America, Miss whatever. Like, I don't know how the hell she did it, but she somehow told Nicole exactly what she needed to tell Nicole and how she felt in that moment, and that Nicole deserved to get what she got. And somehow she loved Nicole at the same time. I don't understand how she did it.
I love the fact that she says to Nicole, first she says, "You look so dumb right now," line, which is great. But then she tells her,
iconic.
She says to her, I was trying to work with you. I was trying to be your ally. You thought you were going to be able to manipulate me. And then I love the fact that she then turns to the house guest and says, she is here to play a manipulative game. That's her plan. And that's not what it's not what we're going to do here. Right? If you keep her, this is what's going to happen. So don't do this. This is the kind of person she has been. This is the kind of person she is.
Fact.
And all of it was true. All of it was true. And I love the fact that that's how she was able to strike the grace.
And I mean, I love them panning, like they're showing Nicole, and Nicole's like, trying to put on this good face. Like, I'm going to stab you. Because, that's what she's thinking in her mind. And then you
show us
Daniel, and Daniel's like,
I want to kill you.
I mean, they are both so pressed. It is amazing. It is everything I wanted.
I'm not going to lie.
I thought Daniel was going to lose his shit when Nicole walked out.
Yes.
Me too.
I did not expect him to turtle.
Watching Nicole like fake smile the whole time was really like funny to me, because obviously, and I say it's obviously a fake smile because you're going home at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Taylor is not really pulling punches in this speech because you didn't expect her to come at you with this speech.
No.
You know that the votes aren't there, but you don't know what the numbers are. So for you to be smiling the whole time and being like, "Oh, it's fine, it's okay,"
and to also tell Julie that it was an amazing speech when you leave.
Yeah, I mean,
there was a part of it where she really tried to be humbled and humble. I don't know. It came off better than I thought it would. I think if it was Daniel, it would be an upside down disaster.
Listen, Daniel has talked a lot about people being loose cannons and emotional. That man is the most emotional person.
He looked like a child. He looked like a kid having a temper tantrum.
It was great. I loved it.
Kylie was living for all of it. All of it. And so at this point, Julie calls the house guests to vote. And in a 9-1 vote, Nicole is going home, going to the crib, going back to the house. Did y'all expect it to be 9-1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I thought it was going to be 8-2 because, like we talked about a little bit earlier, I didn't think they were going to get Indy on board.
I mean, I really wanted it to be 5-5, and I wanted Monty to have to break it because that's great television. But for the sake of their alliance, they obviously needed to pull in and try to get like a house vote. And I love how Daniel is feeling at this moment where he's like, "You can't split the check."
So before we get there,
while he's thinking about splitting the check with his best friend who just left the house.
Before we get to Daniel's post comments, Kylie, what are your thoughts about last season? We didn't really have any shout outs. Those were toned down last season. This season they seem to have like doubled the amount of shout outs they're doing to make sure they made up for the non-23 shout outs.
So like this was a whole ass debate on Twitter this week, even with Big Brother players. And, you had like the new school people. Tommy Bracco is the one that posted it where he's like, "Hey, I don't see any problems with it. It's the only time that your family's watching." And, you have all the old school people, Janelle and Rachel, they're like, "Hell no, don't do that." And it's annoying as hell. We do not care to hear anything about your great Uncle Joe and that it's his birthday 3 days ago. Nobody cares. Like, you have feeds all day long. Nobody wants to hear you shouting them out. "Hey, Julie, you look beautiful. I vote to evict Nicole. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad. Happy birthday, Mrs. Riles from 3rd grade math." Nobody cares.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm bored. I don't care. I think the thing that's very strange to me is specifically Daniel. Does he have a family? Does he have he called out some random actor? Like what?
No,
what?
Well, he shouted out The Legends, which is the show that he was doing here in Vegas.
Okay, So does he have connections? Is there a reason why? What the heck? Don't you want to say hi to your mama?
He probably said hi to his mom like the first time he voted or the second time he voted. He doesn't say hi to his mom every time.
I don't want to hear any more shout outs. I vote to evict Nicole every single time and get the heck out. That's what I
vote to evoke Nicole.
I vote to evict.
CJ, what are your thoughts on shout outs?
I don't have a problem with it because realistically, it doesn't change the timing of the episode. It's not like they're sitting in there getting a minute each for shout outs. Like those shout outs didn't cost us an HOH competition today.
No, but Indy's shout outs cost an extra 30 seconds every single time where I think she said hello to everybody in Brazil. Like, she keeps on going and going. Too much.
Yeah, just to me, Michael. Michael has, his message to his husband where he kisses his ring. His husband knows that it is meant for him every single time. Yep. And that's great. That is a true super fan. Thank you, Michael, from the people.
Michael was like, well, I hate the shout outs too. I want to make sure I don't do them.
That said, if I would ever be in the Big Brother house, I'm naming every single nephew every single week.
I got 23. I got 23 nieces and nephews. I'm gonna be like,
I hate the shout outs, but if we're doing them, we're doing them.
We're doing it.
I'm shouting out my dogs, and that's it.
Hold on. By the way, one thing we forgot about is Joseph humping a door.
So during the Alyssa Kyle segment, we got Indy like, oh, okay, I see y'all over there. Joseph giving a little bit of a hump to the door to let it known. I see what y'all gonna do in there. They're like, don't close the door. Closes the door, be like, hey, I see y'all. It was a little sweet, with the showman segment. It was great. But
plot twist, Joseph's a voyeur.
He likes to watch.
Is Joseph going to win this game? Because that would be awesome.
He possibly could. But before we talk about Joseph winning the game, earlier this week, Nicole was talking to Daniel, and she said that one of the things she loves is that when someone's done wrong in the house, they got to get evicted, and then Julie tells them about themselves. Ooh. And she loved that part about it.
I like when Julie calls you out when you get evicted.
That's what
Taylor
she said.
Is fixing to get it.
Yep. So Nicole gets evicted. And now the thing that she didn't realize is that was Julie Chin that used to call people out. Julie Chin Moonves is all about peace and love, right? So Julie Chin Moonves doesn't call nobody out. So Nicole,
Julie asked a pretty pointed question. Like it was very pointed today. It wasn't. She didn't just let Nicole get by.
But it wasn't nearly as pointed as it used to be.
And it also wasn't really a question. It was more of a statement that your behavior is what caused the flip of the house.
And so Nicole goes and meets her maker, Julie Chin, and Julie Chin Moonves, my apologies. Julie Chin would have never, but Julie Chin Moonves says to her, so Nicole, you seemed really confident about what's going on in this house. Do you know who led to your demise? And she says, I mean, she even hits it on the nail on the head when she says, the week that you and Daniel got into that fight, it created a new alliance. Julie Chen would have hammered on the fight. Julie Chen Moonves says, so what are your thoughts on the new on that alliance that were made? Who was in it? What did you think? What did you guys think about the non-confrontational Julie?
Well, doesn't it look bad for the house? Do you remember when she called out what's her name, who was racist? Aaron. Like that felt right to me in the moment. Very much so. And I think it would have felt right today for Julie to call out Nicole and to say something about her behavior. And in fact, Julie goes one step further. She kind of compliments Nicole for playing hard or playing it was weird. And I'm not sure what's going on here. I don't get it.
I think that it's I think it's a balance that the show has to have because you do have so many casual viewers that don't watch the feeds and don't see the absolutely just terrible things that have been said about Taylor. Like, they've given just a sliver of what's been said about her.
Yeah.
And so,
And realistically, sorry to piggyback on what you're saying, if they never showed the leftovers getting created, every edit prior to that episode was Taylor is a bad person without any concrete evidence of why Taylor was a bad person. Yeah. They would simply say something bad about Taylor, and then they would cut to Taylor living her life in the house.
Yeah.
Laughing, smiling, and they would do that music with doom, like that heavy drop that they do.
I will give Julie 1 ounce of credit in the sense of this is Big Brother's talent. And to take Nicole, who just got evicted, and then make a mockery of her without preparing her to with what's actually going on in the real world, what people actually that's a lot to put on a person. It's probably amazing television, I will say.
Well, I mean, I think yes and no. Like, we want her to be held accountable, and I would have loved it if JCM would have called her out. But I think if you do that week after week, hey Paloma, we didn't get the exit interview with her, I guess, but hey Pooch, you said these shitty things about Taylor. Hey Amira, you were a bitch to Taylor. Hey Nicole, like at a certain point in time, it's not fun television anymore for casual viewers, the thing that want to tune in for their 3 hours.
I don't know why they didn't have her go, because she's looking at that card. I don't know why they didn't have her go. The leftovers was created because of the poor behavior of you guys, basically, against Taylor, and it was created to protect Taylor. What were your thoughts on that fight that felt like a whole alliance needed to be spawned? Like, that's the question I want to because Nicole definitely felt justified, but if you're hearing that an alliance was formed for the sole protection of the person you attacked, obviously other people felt like you were in the wrong.
Did she give harder questions during the Instagram only extended interview? Because I never watched that.
No, but that's where, when Kat Dunn is doing her interview and Jessica Milagros, and you get all of these past contestants and, Mike Bloom types and things like that, they're the ones that are going to ask the more hard-hitting questions where she's going to have to be, she's going to be confronted with it. So.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to give her some media training. And there's going to be some people that are going to be like, so these are the kind of questions that are going to be asked tomorrow. Yeah. Because this is what was
We're only giving them 5 minutes.
Yeah, they get 5 minutes to roast you. But these are the type of questions that are going to be asked because this is what they saw, at least what they believe. So they need to prepare her. They need to prep her because it's going to be tough. And then when Daniel gets his, Lord help us. Because it's going to be bad.
Kevin, I can't wait till we go to Daniel's show and boo him the entire time. Well worth the price of admission.
Every time.
So that's his workplace.
I don't care, Sheldon.
B Bean is also talking about how Twitter is going to roast Julie. Here's the thing. Julie doesn't care about what happens on Twitter. Julie's been getting roasted all season for not acknowledging the bullying. I don't even think Julie reads her own tweets.
Bean said Twitter will roast Julie Chen Moonves if she does not ask Nicole tough questions on the after show. I think they will roast her, but I don't think, like you said, Julie does not care. Julie, in fact, had a very tone-deaf message when the bullying of Taylor was at its height. She was like, Taylor needs to figure it out. Basically, that's what what she basically said on Twitter. Tough titty. Taylor needs to figure it out because she gave she gave an interview to Sharon from US Weekly, and it was pretty tone deaf about what was happening. And it was people asking. I mean, Jackie said she blamed Twitter for the fervor that was happening because Julie very obviously is not watching the feeds. So
I don't even think Julie watches most episodes until they're airing.
Well, it's very telling because, I know that she was watching the feeds last season during the cookout, but I don't think this season she decided that, I'm show only like Sheldon. Me and Sheldon show only. And we're going to do whatever they're telling us is going on.
I'm hoping I can answer BB's question. If Nicole takes zero accountability, what will Sheldon's opinion of Nicole be then? So my opinion is right. I don't think Nicole has done brilliant. I don't have a positive opinion of Nicole at all. In fact, I am embarrassed by Nicole. And if she does take zero accountability, I will feel exactly the same way. With one caveat, I'm never going to think about the woman. I'm never going to meet the woman. I'm never going to, I don't care. Let her go live her own life somewhere else and good luck. I'm not going to attack her or do anything wrong. I don't care. Let her live her life. She could go be a chef. That's going to be my opinion. I don't give a crap.
CJ and I will be going to go see Daniel's show.
It's convenient that he's in Vegas. We
happen to be in Vegas. So
you said he's at Legends. That show's not expensive.
We will be pulling up. But finally in the episode, Taylor got to pick her bestie. And Jackie Long will also be pulling up on the show.
Cool, because we're gonna need a DD.
You mean a Daniel Durston?
Wow.
We will need a Daniel Durston, in fact. But finally, Taylor got to pick her bestie pair she would join, and she joins Indy and Alyssa. Now they're all insulated except for Michael and Brittany. They're the only Achilles heel for the leftovers that if they somehow get put up and have to stay on the block come after the veto, then they're going to be losing a person. But as long as they're not the ones up, the leftovers have the numbers, baby. They're going to be good to go. And as Daniel said, closing out the episode, give them the check. Just end the season now. It's over. It's done.
His bags are packed.
I'm going to go pack my bags, buy my plane ticket. Nicole, wait for me in LA. I'll be there in a week. You can't all split the check. How do y'all feel about Sir Daniel Durston and his just give up attitude?
I love it. It's so great. I cannot wait till the feeds come back up. Okay, so don't hate me, but I'm going to say it. It would be great if Daniel won HOH for entertainment value. I cannot stand him. I would absolutely it would be awful for Taylor, but you have to admit for the show's value, it would be good. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Big brain would have been if Taylor joined Daniel and Kyle's group and then he won HOH.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
But either way, Alyssa goes home next week if that's what happens.
I think Kyle does his best to save her because Jasmine is very much on the outs too. Oh. And I don't think Turner would have any problem with sitting on the block to get rid of her.
I wish she was on the outs of the house.
She will be soon, maybe. We're gonna get into what we think is gonna happen going forward. If I know that Kiley likes chaos. Kiley is a very chaotic type of watcher, but I think Daniel needs to go home now for everyone's safety as well as his own. So this is he's going to try to terrorize everyone. He's very upset. Maybe he'll calm down. Right? But
I think he'll calm down.
All day he's been calling people sheep and saying that they're just split the check now. The season's over. Give Michael or Monty the check. Just end the season now. He's been a baby all day.
Yeah, he's been in the midst of a tantrum for the last 36 hours.
Yeah, so maybe he can calm down. Maybe he can.
Is he covering his face with his thing on his head?
With his veil? No, with his hair.
With his Karen hair.
We'll see what he ends up doing.
Look, the only thing I have to tell Daniel is be strong. Be strong.
I hate that you keep finding these photos on the internet, Sheldon. But on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you guys rate Monty's HOH week?
Great. It was an 8, 9. It was a great week.
I think it was a very good week. I will not give it like a 10 because I think, big picture, it would have been better for his game and for the leftovers game for Alyssa to have left and them to have kept Kyle pulled in tight there. But it was good. Nicole wasn't.
See, I don't buy that.
Nicole wasn't
Actually,
coming back to
sorry.
him.
I don't buy that exactly because I still think that even though Michael and Britt are so solidified with the leftovers, like who else does Indy, Alyssa, like who do those people have to bring in if it's not Brittany and Michael? So like to me, I actually think that they're actually, even though they don't have somebody with them that's not a leftover, I think they're pretty insulated. I don't know.
Here's the thing: Daniel and Nicole have already sniffed out the leftovers, and that's the weak link if they identify it. And now Daniel's sitting there by himself. If he realizes that I just have to get Michael and Brittany on the block at the end of the week so that they have to eat their own, either way they're losing a number. So his target is probably Monty or Taylor right now, but for the good of his game, he needs to get Michael and Brittany on the block if he were to win HOH.
But there's a little caveat there.
So that's why I would give Monty's HOH about a 7, because even though it's not his fault, he wasn't able to protect him. He wasn't able to get rid of Alyssa and Indy. Like, did he get rid of his target? Yes. But he strains credibility with the alliance because he wasn't able to insulate his own alliance.
Right.
Isn't the caveat there that what could he have done? Like he couldn't control Daniel.
Right.
Well, I guess what he could have done is never have that conversation.
There wasn't much that Monty could do, but so it wasn't a bad week for him at all. It was a good HOH reign, but it wasn't perfect.
I think the other piece of that is who's going to win POV for him other than himself. Alyssa hasn't demonstrated that she's competitive. Indy is still thinking about her sex therapy class. Like, I don't know. Like who's going to help him win anything?
Daniel's on his own. He's a man on an island.
If he's in the veto comp, Kyle's 100% throwing it. He has to win it by himself.
Exactly.
But it doesn't change the fact that he's, like you said, he's a man on the island, but it doesn't change the fact that he has a good idea of what he needs to do to further his game. Is it going to help him long term? Nope, because if he wins HOH this week, he can't win HOH next week. In order to make it to the end right now, he's got to win HOH or veto every week.
Mm-hmm.
At least for a couple weeks for people to, forget about it, because they do. It's a short memory.
In fact, he doesn't have to comp out, but he needs to get his act together, and he needs to try to try to figure out if there is a crack that he can slip in. I think part of it is if he were to apologize to Taylor. He doesn't understand that part. He thinks that Taylor's still the devil, but if he were to apologize to Taylor, he might be able to garner some favor in the house, right? For me, I think Monty's HOH was about an 8. It got out his initial target, which was Nicole. He was able to put up the pawns and still not have them coming back for him. He still was able to get Taylor into a situation where she's going to be safe. He protected most of his alliance, left that one Achilles heel out there, but protected the rest of the alliance to the best of his ability, and was able to create stronger bonds with Jasmine and Terrence that he's going to be able to utilize later. So,
don't you think he created a little bit of a bigger threat? He seems to be a bigger threat after his HOH than before his HOH, which is the exact opposite of what Turner did. Everybody forgot about Turner being an HOH. It's over. He's back to not washing his hair. I think that Monty, and look, it doesn't help that he's a big, large guy, muscular. Like he has a presence to himself that it's an influence. I think he is now he had a big HOH. He got rid of Nicole. He got rid of the pretend detective chef. He did that. He now has a bigger threat.
I think some of it depends on kind of what he does this next week. Does he keep, does he win a veto? Does he push his narrative, or does he do what Turner did and just kind of just fade on back. And I mean, I think Monty gives off this really kind of calming presence. Like, you know, he's physically imposing, but his personality is really kind of chill. You know, I still haven't completely forgiven him for all the things that he said about Taylor either. And so, yeah, I don't completely love Monty, but
he has the best smile in the house.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Monty has some skill set that, you know, he can possibly win the game. I don't know. We'll see.
So here's the thing with Monty is I think that you have the Pound, which is the 4 boys, and then you have Michael, Brittany, and Taylor. And I think the win is really going to come down to what Turner does. Because I don't think Turner's completely sold on broing down with the boys. I think his number one in the house right now might be Taylor.
And I think Kyle has a lot to do with that too, because if Kyle, you know, gets too lovesick and he branches off and is willing to throw away his game and the leftovers game and the Pounds game for love, then who knows what happens. So
that's also true.
Yeah, I think that the showmance is going to play a huge role in what happens over the next few weeks and the future of the leftovers.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with Monty's HOA train is that, you know, the showman's fully bloomed under it. So,
but it's not his fault, man. It's not his fault. But it kind of is his fault. But it's not his fault.
That's the only bad part.
According to you, it's the female vixen's fault, Kevin.
Well, she's been trying for weeks and weeks, and
trying for weeks and weeks.
No, she's been trying for weeks and weeks. He's been trying to get her out. So legitimately, it is partially Monty's fault because when they asked Kyle to not play the veto, right? Apparently for him, and he says this in the camera talk, it made him realize that he didn't want to lie to Alyssa anymore.
Yeah, and he doesn't feel at the top of the alliance he created.
Because he all of his things that he was saying about not wanting to do it, he felt like it was on deaf ears, and it made him say, you know what, screw it, screw the showman's part. It's time for me to start thinking with the little head and forget the big head. And it
which
is
one
so.
Is little and which one is big? Because I don't know.
Well, you know, the one in his pants is the little one, but
we don't know that. We've only seen the top head.
So it was that situation though that led him to wanting to make the moves with Alyssa, if you will, and now he's like a lovesick puppy. But it's just an interesting.
We lost him, y'all. We lost him.
So here's the thing. You say we lost him, but Kyle knows who's in the alliance and he knows who the Pound is. Right now, if he sees those dudes as a threat, he can take Alyssa with him, go ally with the Taylor and Michael and Brittany, and now it's 5-on-3.
And that's already started. He's talked to Michael and Brittany about going with him and Alyssa. Because that's his path.
What'd you say?
I thought there was a final 3 formed with Taylor. Sorry, yeah, with Brittany, Michael, and Kyle.
No, Brittany, Michael, and Taylor are the final 3. There is
I heard there was another final 3.
There is another final 3 with Kyle, and he wants to bring Alyssa in there because he thinks that's Alyssa's pathway to getting to the end with him. Because Alyssa,
and he's also open to doing like a final 4 with him and Alyssa and Indy and Jasmine.
Yep.
Ugh, Indy. Ugh.
Because he's starting to look for other avenues, not just because he fell on the bottom, but because they asked him to get rid of Alyssa that he no longer wants to do. He attempts to not talk game with her anymore because he doesn't want to lie to her anymore. These are things that like Kiley's right. This bloomed under Monty's watch, but they were doing what was right for the alliance. Because Kyle made it clear for many times over that he was fine getting rid of Alyssa whenever necessary, and he was at the time because of Sheldon doesn't want to admit her womanly wiles. He couldn't help himself, which is why he was trying to get her evicted. That's what he wanted.
I mean, look, we've seen this happen before.
He was the
Brandon
one pushing for. Yeah, he was the one Sheldon. He was the one pushing for Alyssa to go. he needed Alyssa to go before Nicole, before Taylor,
He
or
needed
before
Alyssa
Nicole,
to go
before
last week.
Daniel. Yes. He wanted Alyssa to go on before he fell into the trap, but now he's stuck.
Again, you make it sound like men have no control over their sexuality, and they don't have a brain. Like, what world?
It's because we don't, Sheldon. We don't own it.
He's an adult. What are you talking about?
He's not an adult. He is a 19-year-old boy. He lives with his parents in their basement, and he's a horny teenager.
I'm sorry.
And he makes
That's a pitiful excuse for a grown-ass man. Sorry.
He in fact says in his camera talk, "I'm bored and I'm horny. There's nothing else to do in here.
Go
and
skiing.
She's so pretty.
Go to the gym. Go for a swim."
He's tried.
He's doing those things. He was taking the cold shower while she was standing there smiling at him, and he couldn't handle himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you say so.
Well, that was the show. That was the episode. This was fantastic. Kylie, where can people find you?
Here, talking about all the things, doing all the things.
That is all.
I don't tweet enough, to really worry about it. I'm a very inconsistent tweeter, so just follow us here.
Sheldon has no social media. CJ, where can they find you?
Find me on all the socials at Keyboard Sarcasm. I watch the feeds and I tweet about them. I watch sports and I tweet about them.
Yep, that's about it. I you can find me at KG Fury. I watch feeds. I tweet sometimes. I say some funny stuff if I try to. I try to say funny stuff. There, just for anyone that wants to know, there is no HOH yet. There is no HOH as of yet. So when the HOH is figured out, we will know then. We will probably tweet about it, but until then, we will not know. Once again, make sure you subscribe and like and all those good things, because we will be giving away a golden Power of Veto when we reach 250 subscribers on YouTube. In addition, please join us on Monday, where me and CJ will be chatting it up, chopping it up, talking about the HOH competition from Sunday and all of the fallout from the Thursday episode, the live eviction. We're gonna be checking in to see if Daniel is still pouting. So that'll be interesting. Sheldon, you're muted, so I don't know if you're gonna say something.
Quick question: who do y'all want to win the HOH? Round circle. Kylie, Kevin, CJ, then me. Kylie, who do you want to win?
Daniel.
What? Evil. Kevin.
Taylor.
What? Great. CJ.
Terrence.
Damn. Wow, boring.
Chaos.
Then he gives
Chaos.
up. I kind of want Indy to win and be like, "Where's my detective now to help me?"
Who do you want to go home? Who do you want to go home?
Daniel.
Wait, Kylie, you want to win HOH and go home? I don't know how that's going to happen, but that's interesting. We'll see how that works.
Kevin, for the first time in Big Brother history, the HOH is self-evicted.
He's self-evicting. I'm done with you guys, and he leaves. He walks out.
He won't. He wouldn't self-evict. I think he's got too much. He's too prideful. Like he thinks he's all that in a cup of shit. Like he is everything to himself. He would never self-evict.
I agree. It's going to be a lot. Join us Sunday. Join us Monday. We will talk about it, and make sure you come back on Wednesday and Thursday to 15 minutes after the episode airs, so we can talk about all the shenanigans going on in the Big Brother house. I think that's mainly it. So for us here, for outside of the Big Brother house, love one another and don't call people on their shit.
What?